So we're moving on to the second part of the tutorial where we're just going to extend the existing language, or basically have a different block definition. So the block language that we used so far, we had these input fields to add values, but that's not as flexible. Maybe we want to compute those values, and then we should maybe attach them in a different way. There are those click in blocks, and to change how this is done, we would actually define that we don't have those fields, but input values. And then we can give, again, names for these input values, and also we will have a look later what this check is. But now let's first open this code. So now it's a different folder. So because I went into this folder first, let's maybe stop the web server. And then we're going to open the different folder. So this was, we were in the hello block. Now let's go to the hello blocks. And there we have a similar project. So we're just going to get a terminal again. And then we're going to say, well, npm, we could do install just to be on the safe side. And then we can do npm run dev to actually run this new language. And let's have a look at the example first, what it looks like. We have more blocks, and this is the old block that we had, this say something times hello, and now we see that there are these like empty puzzle pieces. So and we see that these blocks, they might fit into those puzzle pieces, right? So what happened now is that we changed from the input fields to these inputs, and that's done in this block definition. So this block definition here is again in source blocks. So we didn't really change this layout, and for this tutorial I'll always keep this layout that the block definition is in blocks. We're going to define it again with a JSON array. That's our greeting. Now I just changed the type to be greeting external, because we can define the values in these kind of internal external inputs. So we have this input value as the type. And then in the old project, maybe we'll just open this as well. So just so we can have it side by side. That was this hello block. And then in our blocks definition, we basically use this field number as the type. Now we simply use input value. We had this field input. Now we simply use input value, right? Now we just have those kind of puzzle piece connectors. And then we could define something like, because we defined that this is a field for numbers, we could define these kind of properties. But here, we can't really define those properties, but we can add some checks. So we can check that this is really a number. We can check that this is really a string. And these checks, they're basically allowing us to make sure that only the right puzzle pieces can be connected. So if we try, that's obviously a string, and we can easily put it here, right? And if we try to connect it here where a number should go, it's not letting us drop it in. Okay, so numbers, let's check if we can drop them in. Yes, they work. Okay. Good. And we see that there's some issues going on, right? Now here I have a complete block, and it generates the code as it did before. Now if we add one of those blocks, it's going to tell us missing input code for times. So it doesn't have anything here. Now let's add the times. Then it says, oh, missing input code for subject. This was this block. And it still complains because this one is empty and it can't be an empty string. So yeah, now it's there. Good. So that's the difference in block definition. We also added the color here. The previous block didn't really have a nice color. It was just black because we didn't have this color thing. And if we don't have it, then yeah, it will be black again. So let's keep the color. And we can define a color for every block, maybe to distinguish them based on their functionality. But now we see that here actually we had 3 blocks, but we only defined 1, right? In this array, we have only a single entry because the other ones, they're default blocks that we're just reusing. And if you remember, in the main, we defined our workspace. We call this define blocks to register our block, the greeting external block. And then we define the workspace. And here we're adding a text and a math number. Now these are built-in block definitions that come with Blockly, and we can just use them, and we should use them instead of redefining this, right? We could redefine this, but let's just use the existing ones. That's much nicer, and then we get them automatically in our workspace without really doing much. So that's again our definitions of a workspace. And then one thing that we also need to change is the code generation, right? We have this workspace definition here with the visual editor, those 2 new blocks. If you want to figure out what kind of existing blocks there are, you can open this Blockly playground. And there we can see a lot of built-in blocks. So let's say we want to look at the maybe math one. That's this number thing. So we can drag it here into our workspace, and then we see here, oh, there's one with like operations. If we wanted to use that one, we would have to figure out what its name is. So on the left, we can simply say save to JSON. We're saving this workspace to JSON. And then that's maybe a bit strange, but that's how we can basically look it up. So here we see there's this block math number, that's this one. And there's this block math arithmetic. That's this one. And then if we want to know how do we access those values, actually, we see that it has different inputs, again, of type math number. And it does have the operator for these arithmetic values. Now it doesn't really show us all of the ones because this is just the currently configured block. So if we say again to JSON, we should see that this operator now changes to multiply, right? But we can see that with op, we can retrieve this operator. With A, we could retrieve the first, and with B, we could retrieve the the last argument, and then they are of type math number. So we could now add this to our workspace by simply doing this math arithmetic. And then maybe let's do that. It's probably math arithmetic. We should add a comma here, of course. And this thing is still running, right? So we should get our updated. Yeah, now we have a math arithmetic block. And then our code generator already complains because it has no idea how to generate code for math arithmetic, right? Too bad. But that's how we would define the new languages. And this playground basically allows you to explore all of them. There's lots of for loops and stuff, so you can figure out what are their names by generating the JSON.